You have found tremendous fraud. Tell me that we're actually going to make some arrests here and we're going to see some heads roll for this.
The heads will roll, but I want to point out that the right question is not how many people are going to jail, but how much money leaves the building. I say that because we're all indignant. Everyone is angry about the weaponization of fraud. Again, much of this by foreign nationals supported by foreign countries. The head of the mafia in LA that was responsible for this fled back to Russia as soon as he got indicted. That space that right behind me in that doorway, that is the site of a location that was shut down because they had a fake hospice center. The question I'm asking is, what about the other 42 in that 4-block area? Why do they stay open? And I think a lot of this, it's infuriating because you realize for some places in the country, this kind of fraud is not a flaw, it's a feature, Rob. And I want to emphasize a couple of realities here. This is not just about the money, although the money matters, but you're hurting people. You're taking vulnerable Americans and removing their access to care. And they're also stealing their ID, and you're stealing their ability to go to take Medicare benefits, because when you go to hospice, you actually give up your insurance to go into a program designed for your last few months of life. Yet, Rob, many of the people in these hospice centers, they have 100% survival rates. Like, no one dies. They're not dying. They're fakely put on these lists. And so we need to take this stuff serious. I'm gonna ask one big question to the audience. Are you ready? Why would anyone let this happen? I'm hoping you're all wondering that. I wondered that.
Well, here's that's the scale of this indicates that just nobody cares, especially in California's government to find this. Here's the governor on this same question.
Well, hospice, we've been after that for years and years before Oz was even on the scene. No one's denying these issues. But let's also not deny this is purely political.
We've been after this for years and years, he claims. A 5-year-old could have found this had they been looking for it. Nobody has been looking at this. All he does is lie. They don't care about your money. And I mean, this is so egregious. I can't even believe that this was possible.
Well, I'm going to shock you in the audience. It's a federal law that if you offer someone Medicaid, you also should offer them the ability to vote, the right to register themselves. So it's a voter outreach effort at the same time. Rob, this is political patronage at its worst. It's weaponized by the use of the healthcare system. The president's not going to tolerate it. He is angry. He talks about this all the time. I get phone calls appropriately. He wants to know how is it possible that these fraudsters are stealing the care that Americans deserve. Let's switch to Minnesota for a second. Minnesota expected to spend $3 million for autism. It's now $400 million. Why? Because everybody in the community signed their kids up as though they're autistic. Why? You were paying them. These moms literally took bribes to lie that their kids had autism. Rob, if one child in the neighborhood has autism, they get care, they get support, we can give them money. If every kid in the neighborhood has autism, nobody has autism because you can't get to a provider. Right. And we have these systems that are springing up all over the country. We have durable medical equipment fraud. We believe the Cuban government's involved in South Florida. We've got lots of problems with personal care services in New York. Again, there's lots of people making a ton of money. We have probably more people who are providing home health care in New York that work in retail in New York.
But there's obviously foreign actors at play, but there's a lot of domestic people that are propping this up as well. People have to be working and doing the job on the ground. That's where I'm talking about. We got to find these people, and there has to be heads roll from this because it seems like so often government just doesn't care when its money is stolen. It's our money, and they don't care because it's not their money, as you rightly know. Real quick, I just want to give the response from Newsom and from Adam Schiff in California. Newsom demanding a civil rights investigation. He's calling you racist because you're calling out mobsters, the mafia of Armenia, the Russian mob. Adam Schiff says the demonization of Armenian Americans and targeting of their small businesses is racist and must end. These are the people that have let this happen, and their go-to response is, you're a racist.
I'm stunned. You would think at least they would offer some solution for the many folks in California who are being hurt by this fraud, and the Americans across the country whose tax fees are going up. They're paying more money to the IRS so it can be redirected to California. Rob, let me ask you a question. Why would people in New Mexico, which is a blue state, a poor state, have to pay extra money into the federal coffers so there's enough money to pay for the fraud in California? This is not about red and blue. This is about Americans who are being hurt because of the lackadaisical approach to these problems. And again, I can't know this for sure, but it's so bad, at some point you have to wonder, did you let it go on purpose?
I fully expect that I just don't think that they wanted to call it out, because if they call it out, then they're pointing a finger at their own incompetence and what they've let happen. So they just say, let it keep going at this point. Why would you hurt yourself politically? All they care about is getting reelected. They don't care about the money in this country and how much we pay and how much is wasted. It's so infuriating, as you well know. Thank you for caring about the money, and I love that we put together an administration with a lot of people with business minds that don't like to see money wasted. Good to see you, Dr. Oz. Thank you.
God bless, Rob.
You know, everybody's reporting the same stories, the same spin. You turn the channel, it's always the same. But not us. We're different. We report the real news. No spin, just the facts. Turn to us, and you won't turn back.
Tune in to Rob Schmitt Tonight on Newsmax.